Well, I think it's easing a little bit. With regard to the IPO pipeline, we actually have a very strong pipeline with 170 companies in the pipeline waiting for market sentiment to improve. Like anybody else, of course, people want to wait until market is a little more buoyant to come out, but they are ready, and we are ready. And in the past, of course, the Chinese regulatory measures had an impact on the tech companies, but gradually these people are expected to know what are the red lines and where the policy guidelines are. So I would expect things to ease up gradually. But of course, we're still, like everybody else, all the markets are subject to the bigger macro geopolitical tension. And that is something that is not within the control of our exchange.
Hong Kong's had a turbulent few years recently, we know, and there have been questions raised about the handling of social situations and political situations in Hong Kong under the previous leader, Carrie Lam. John Lee takes up the helm here. People are worried because he's got a police background and the security law has raised a lot of worries about how that's going to be imposed. Should people be concerned?
I don't believe so. I have worked with Mr. Lee as a member of Executive Council for a few years. He has a good track record, and I will continue to work with him on promoting and enhancing Hong Kong's status as an international financial center. I think that is very high on the agenda, and we look forward to doing that.
It's raised uncertainties for those who want to invest in Hong Kong, but there's another issue that is also worrying people, and that's the dollar peg. It's served Hong Kong well since '83, but because American interest rates are rising and the Hong Kong economy is struggling at the moment, is there a possibility that there will be a break of that peg at some stage and that we maybe see the yuan adopted as a more widely used currency for Hong Kong, that the Hong Kong dollar goes away?
I think the talk about repegging or depegging has always been there. In the last 20 years, from time to time, it comes up. And from time to time, and every time it comes up, the SAR government is very strong and clear in saying that the peg will stay. And I don't see any change at the moment.
Laura, just a question from me on the outside. I mean, Jeff's the Hong Kong expert here, but I'm just looking at the outside, and with all those changes that you two have been talking about over the last few years, and difficult years, as you've both expressed as well, what is the Hong Kong Exchange USP nowadays? What is it about Hong Kong that actually is going to attract that international capital, that is actually going to attract those international listings and the tech IPOs as well? I mean, Shanghai wants that business, Singapore wants that business, the New York, London. What is it about? Has Hong Kong still got its chutzpah?
Of course, Hong Kong's biggest role has always been a connector, connecting China with the world, connecting East with West, and that's what we have been doing for the last decades. And of course, in recent years, through the Connect program, we really connect international investors with Chinese market and Chinese investor with international market through us. So that is a very important conduit, and I don't see how that has changed. In fact, if you look at the figures, the volume in the Connect program has increased. And yes, our market has taken some setback recently because of the liquidity issue, because of the general market sentiment. But, as we all know, markets come and go, it goes up and goes down. I'm very confident that what had made Hong Kong a great place to invest remain the same. Level playing field, clarity, fairness, no arbitrary intervention of any sort. And I think that is what gives international investors confidence. And those all remain the same.